Hello, trading is closed on November 24th, 2020. We'll do our disclaimer and go over the calls. This is my trading plan for tomorrow, November 25. No guarantee I'm right. And don't forget, if we get sharply the wrong way, the call's killed before the open. Trade at your own risk. Look for the pattern. Today's pattern had the early low. There it is. Tomorrow has the early high. We said this pattern yesterday was negative, and to continue the rally we have to gap, promptly overtake this high. We did that. We get to cross a target off the list. That's the last higher target. Here's what we said. Either we gap and promptly overtake the high, or we see lower prices. So we gapped and overtook the high. During the day, MEJT said these drops would retrace, said this rally would retrace, and that's all happened. The month's almost over. I want to call your attention to the fact we now have 4 straight months that we've traded over the upper Bollinger Band on the monthly chart, and historically you haven't gotten much more than that. Can't say it won't be 5, but it shows we've been overextended for some time. Doesn't mean we have to drop tomorrow. We're getting pretty close to this trend line. If you're going to break through and stay broken through, you really want to gap over that trend line. And can't say it's impossible, but so far it's resistance. If we gap over it and hold it and make another high, make another follow-through bar, that's major resistance right on top of us. Hasn't happened yet. If you look at the chart a different way, it's less impressive. You connect these highs, draw a parallel channel, draw this parallel channel, and you can see that we're right up at resistance at today's high. So the question is this churning at the high? Are we stalling at resistance, or are we going to gap up and break through? Futures are already up. Gapping up isn't impossible, but it's cash that counts, and so far you're stalling at resistance, and it's possible you'll break through. But if we don't gap up tomorrow, I think we'll trade lower. Tomorrow features the early high. Doesn't mean you won't gap down. Typically it's a bearish day with a low in the final hour. Early strength, on the other hand, turns the tables. More strength tends to be seen in subsequent days, even if the rest of the day trends down. Gapped up at a higher high, closed under the midday highs. It's a negative pattern. It's trending at the high, but, all you need to do to erase this negativity is to gap and promptly overtake today's high, and futures are up, so that's not impossible at all. But if you don't do it, it's a negative pattern. You gap over today's high, ideally by enough to overtake the trend line sloping up. That should be sufficient to continue the rally, needing only confirmation the day after that, the trading day after that. Just be aware holiday markets can skew technical signals because there are fewer participants. Holiday week rallies often retrace the next week, and sentiment indicators still show excessive bullishness. The market's ignored it so far, and typically what happens is everyone's convinced at some point that we're just going to keep going higher, and that's when you get the drop. So I'm not calling a top to this yet. I still don't like sentiment indicators. All we have to do is to gap over this and continue higher. But if that doesn't happen, if we don't gap over these highs, or at least trade over them promptly, tomorrow should be a down day. But even if you don't close down. You should trade down, probably tradably, if we don't gap over this or take it out quickly. And that's today's call.